Welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where we talk about the top 15 tight end rankings for Week 9. You ready? Those Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom. Rolling on the field.
Those Fantasy Goodfellas. All right, before we get started on this week's rankings, let me remind you these are not our rankings. And we know that you're going to start the players you like or start the players that you have. But we hope that this video sheds some light on which tight ends are trending well and what tight ends you might be able to eyeball in the waiver wire. So let's just look at last week's rankings and how they ended up. This was your top 30 tight end rankings. And if you're looking, in my mind, there's only one tight end position per team. So you're looking at about 16 and less. So that puts Travis Kelce or anybody higher on that. So you got Trey McBride, David Njoku, Kincaid, Jake Ferguson. I've heard Jake Ferguson a couple weeks. Andrew Ogletree and Tommy Tremble. Those are some of the players that did really well. You got from Tennessee, Okonkwo. And Pharaoh Brown, he's been in there. Now, this is going to give you an idea of who is available. Take a look at this. Remind yourselves, because these players are performing well, and that's what I kind of want to remind you guys, is that these are the players that you might want to target in this week. So pay attention to those waiver wires. Look at that. Now we're just going to go ahead and look at the tight ends that they put into the rankings and just get going. This is only 15. That we're going to switch that up here. That is our last. Now let's go back to predictions. So at number 1, Travis Kelce versus the Miami Dolphins. Now Travis Kelce did not do well in Week 8. I think nobody on that Kansas City Chiefs, but again, this is where it doesn't matter about the trends. Just Travis Kelce, you're going to play him regardless. Number 2, you got Mark Andrews versus the Seattle Seahawks. Mark Andrews wasn't in the top 3, and he was actually ranked 11th. That'd be good, but look, he had a tight end. He had a TD. Number 3, you got T.J. Hawkinson at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is going to be interesting because now Cousins is not going to be playing anymore, and you got Hawkinson ranked and projected to be so high. So that's something to pay attention, is how much can the quarterback throw to him without any chemistry. Number 4, Dallas Goedert versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys defense has done pretty good this season. And now some weeks you don't depend on him. And so this is where I want to kind of take a look quickly at the overall week-to-week rankings and what position he came in. So if you look, he was only in the top 10 twice, and that does it for him. So they don't really depend on tight ends on that. He was in the top 16, 3, 4. So, sometimes you got to gamble. Dallas Goedert is a safe bet. Number 5, Dalton Schultz versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dalton Schultz, he only had 5 receiving yards in Week 8. That's not cutting it. But if you want to look at his chart, he's surpassed 60 passing yards twice this season. And if I want to look here at fantasy points, he's only really 3 weeks in TDs, and in those he's had TDs. So, Schultz not trending well. At number 6, Dalton Kincaid at the Cincinnati Bengals. Dalton Kincaid, I believe he got into the end zone, and he did. He had 65 receiving yards, and that's what it looks like. But you want to look into his week-to-week rankings, see what he's got going on. He is trending really well, and now they got a big matchup this week, so he's trending well. Might be somebody to pick up if he's available. At number 7, Kyle Pitts versus the Minnesota Vikings. Kyle Pitts might be able to do well this week just because that Minnesota offense is going to be very nervous to play without Cousins, who's been there for a while. And I think that's where you might gamble with Pitts. At number 8, you got David Njoku versus the Arizona Cardinals. And what did he do in Week 8? Well, 77 receiving yards, 1 receiving TD overall as the team, because sometimes you want to see if that team's doing well. You had P.J. Walker play, then you have Dorian Thompson-Robinson get a throw in there, and that's what it looks like. So kind of spread it out a little bit, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through these rankings fairly quickly. Logan Thomas at New England Patriots. Logan Thomas has been steady. He had 44 receiving yards, 1 receiving TD. He's been steady if he can keep getting into the end zone. At number 10, Trey McBride at the Cleveland Browns. He's already popped up in those rankings to be all the way. He was the second best tight end in Week 8. At number 11, you have Darren Waller at the Las Vegas Raiders. Waller is okay, nothing spectacular. But you got Daniel Jones might return. Number 12, Cole Kmet at the New Orleans Saints. Cole Kmet, I believe he did well. He had 79 receiving yards, 10 receptions, and look at that, 10 for 10. At number 13, Jake Ferguson at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be an interesting. Ferguson's picking up, and he's getting into the end zone, so he might be trending really well. At number 14, Gerald Everett at the New York Jets. This is something that the Jets' defensive cornerbacks have been steady. Might be an interesting matchup. Don't expect him to do well this week. At number 15, Okonkwo at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is where you'd like to see somebody 23 receiving yards and 4 rushes. But how he's done on the season is... Let's just pull up that real quick. Nothing to talk right home about. All right, that is the rankings and taking a look at it. Don't forget to check out the waiver wires for some of those tight ends who succeeded last week. And that's going to do it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week. The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.